we like to use the analogy of crawl, walk and run. So right at the beginning, when you're crawling with marketing effectiveness, basically you're looking at what's happened, your data reporting, so you're understanding what's happened in the last quarter perhaps. You're not really doing a lot on understanding what's happening now, and you're certainly not doing anything on understanding what's going to happen in the future. And that's where a lot of companies are at the beginning of the process. There are not too many companies there at the moment in the UK. Most have got beyond the walk stage. They've got beyond just pure data reporting. A lot of companies, though, are still operating in a walk phase. So with crawl, they've done the data reporting, they understand that now. And in a walk phase, they're looking more at understanding what's happening in the present, perhaps running different scenarios, different what-ifs. What will happen if I increase price by 5%? What will happen if I cut my advertising budget by 10%, as normally seems to be the case? They're playing around with different scenarios in the walk phase. And what's critical here, when you go from crawl to walk, what's really important is that you understand the analysis that you're doing and that you couch the analysis in terms that a company can actually use. And that's the key thing when you make that move. So I remember, a couple of years ago, we worked with a client on digital attribution, where we were looking at which publisher, which tactic was the most effective at driving a sales response. And we were looking at that hour by hour. That's the digital attribution methodology, pretty granular analysis. But the company bought their inventory weekly. So we were giving hour by hour reports and recommendations on what to do. The company couldn't effect any change until the next week. So the analysis was not as effective as it could have been. And I think that's really key. When you go from crawl to walk, understand what your company can use and make sure the analysis is couched in those terms. Because all analysis can be made bespoke. You don't have to buy an off-the-shelf package in terms of marketing effectiveness. But just be really clear on what you want. And then when you go from walk to run, that's the crawl phase. So in crawl, you're just doing data reporting. In walking, data reporting and analysis, understanding the present. In run, that's where you can really make a difference to the business, because that's when you can run scenarios, you can make predictions about what will happen. And as soon as marketing starts making those predictions, especially if they're backed by finance, to give them that little bit more credibility, you can test how accurate those are. And if marketing says, look guys, if you do this, then this is likely to happen. And then guess what, they do that, and that actually does happen, or pretty close to that. Marketing have immediately built credibility. They've built up a pool of goodwill, a reservoir of credibility, and it gives them more license to change and affect change within the organisation. And the only thing then, when you're at the run stage, and there's a lot of great companies in the UK who are at that stage now, the thing to do there is just to make sure you stay on top of the game and to keep up to date with the latest developments in analytics. And not to blindly go out and commission the latest piece of research because it's flavour of the month, but understand your company's own pain points and how that research or the new techniques can address those pain points. As long as you understand what the KPIs are for your business, you've defined what success looks like, then you can find the right technique that will address those KPIs. But that's where we think we are in a continuum: crawl, walk, run.